Hello, I'm Keith Casebolt from Creative Media of Kentucky. Congratulations on entering into the world of politics. Now, your upcoming race is going to require all of your focus on the issues and those who are going to possibly vote for you. So, the one thing that you don't need to worry about is the media. I'm talking bumper stickers, billboards, newspaper print, radio, television, digital. Who do you buy? Cable, broadcast. There's a lot of decisions to be made. We're the experts at that. We take all of that off your plate, put your campaign together, and handle all of the buying and all of the production. Now that gives you the time to do what you need to. Meet all of the voters, focus on the issues, and get elected. Give us a call at Creative Media of Kentucky.
I'm Gary C. Johnson. You've seen these billboards and ads that say size matters. I agree. The size that matters is the size of the results the law firm gets for their clients. We have several multi-million-dollar verdicts here in Kentucky. In fact, our firm owns the record for the single largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. That's the size that matters to you. In Kentucky, give our firm the call.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law of Life provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law of Life with Gary C. Johnson and Keith Casebolt.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply the Law of Life radio program. I'm Keith Casebolt. My dear friend, back with me, Gary C. Johnson. So good to see you.
It is so good to be seen, Keith.
I tell you what.
Oh, you don't realize how good it is, my friend, to be seen.
We did last week's program, and I made it a point to listen to it again. Even though I did the program with you, I sat in the car and listened to the program again when it played. And the whole week was a different week because of the testimony you gave about the people you encountered and during your accident and everything. It was like, Gary, the air was better, the grass was greener, the whole week, everything was better.
Well, you've got just a whole lot of good people out there, a whole bunch of them.
You know, and the thing the show got me on is we're creatures of habit. We can have 999 good things happen to us, and what do we concentrate on? The one thing that's bad that happens.
Oh, why, yes, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah. No wonder we're being held back from succeeding and being happy.
Well, most relationships fail, in my opinion, because of the knife that uses the 1,000 cuts to It's the little bitty things that go ignored every day that people don't attend to, the little slights that people do to each other, and over time they build and they build and they build, and after a while there's too many cuts to mend the relationship.
So it's the straw that broke the camel's back.
There's a straw that breaks the camel's back.
Mm-hmm.
And those of you out there that are letting those little bitty cuts happening in your relationship, be aware of them and stop them. Because you ain't going to do no better. The grass is not going to be any greener on the other side. And you can be extremely happy in the circumstance you're in if you choose to do so.
Isn't that the truth?
If you stop making or being in on the little bitty cuts.
So right now, any of our friends listening, if they say, well, I'm having a little tiff with the wife or I'm having a tiff with the boss at work and things are not good, if you ask them, sit down and take a pen and write down all the good things that person in your life has done for you or that boss has done for you at your job, they would spend the entire day writing down good things, wouldn't they?
Every time. It's the neglect of the relationship that causes them to fail, in my opinion.
Just absolutely not being sincerely thankful.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, I guess that's the thing I got out of the program last week, was the fact that we are not thankful enough for all that is being done for us on a daily basis.
And how quickly we lose sight of it.
Oh.
But my friends, we're not going to do that, are we? No way.
No, you're the guy that has come in here and said, thank the cashier, thank the garbage man that picks up the garbage, thank the person that's in the restaurant waiting on you. You've always proposed this, but Gary, for some reason now, I see it more than ever.
Now you see why.
Oh, yes, I see why, because it can all be taken away.
And if you didn't have those folks in your life,
Mm-hmm.
you would be in a world of hurt. If you didn't have the people to pick up your garbage in your life, you would be in a world of hurt.
So we've been talking about success, and that's the thing I thought of going into this program. If we are truly appreciative of everything and everybody around us, is that one of the keys to us becoming successful?
I don't think you can become successful unless you're a genius without that.
Yes.
And what is success? Got to thinking about that when I couldn't sleep last night. And success is being content where you are. Success doesn't necessarily mean you're making a bunch of money. Success means your relationship with your family. Success means, do you have time for yourself?
Good point.
Do you have time for your family? Do you have enough to eat? Is it okay? Now, if you have those things, you are a success, because your relationships and your family, my friends, are far more important than any money you will ever make. Ever. So, my definition of success, as I figured out about 2 o'clock this morning, is being content where you are and have the people around you that you need to be content. Then you are successful.
So you just changed the whole definition for everybody that's listening.
Right.
I mean, you've told me before, hey, if you've got people in your life that are there because of decisions you've made, then none of those decisions were bad decisions.
They weren't.
Because you wouldn't give it up.
You wouldn't give those people up in a million years.
Absolutely not. I mean, the friendships, the family, your children, your relationship with your spouse.
And if you have those relationships, and if you're content, and if you have time for your family, and if you have time for yourself, and you have enough to live on, then you are a success.
So is one of the big problems, Gary, that we start chasing this elusive dream, the grass being greener on the other side of the fence?
Oh, we got to have this, we want to do that, we want to do that, and we lose sight of the things that are important in life.
So we're the dog with a bone in our mouth looking into the water, and we want the other bone, and we lose the one we've got because we're not taking the time to appreciate what we have?
Yeah, there's a fellow talking to me the other day about, he was pretty content in his life. And he said, I think I need to make more money. And I got to thinking about what he said, and I realized that that's probably the worst thing that he could try to do, because he's content. He's got everything he needs.
Mm-hmm.
Got time for himself, and he's got time for his family.
So the question would be, you're making more money for what reason?
Right.
Just to have more money? Or
But to make that more money, then he's going to have to change something.
going to have to give up something?
He's going to have to give up the things that really matter somewhere along the line.
So there's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have that balance for you personally, for your friends, your family, and then for your job.
Amen.
We've read stories about several prominent people, one of them being John D. Rockefeller, that basically in the pursuit of money had driven his health to the point to where he was going to die.
I can see that.
Until he finally gave up.
So my successful friends, stay successful, okay?
With your family.
And don't chase that rainbow and all of those things out there. The rainbow and the pot of gold at the end of it is the people that's around you.
Well, you and I were talking not too long ago about some funerals. We've seen some funerals where very few people showed up. We've seen funerals where there were standing room only and people standing outside waiting to get in. Is that a way of gauging the success that you touched so many people's lives?
You can bet that that person that's in that coffin was extremely successful, and they may or may not have had money.
Their net worth could have been zero.
That's right.
But their value as a successful human being on this planet was greater than anyone's.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because of the love and affection.
You've got a book there in front of you, and like you want to read something, Keith.
Well, I do.
What have you been thinking about?
I've got a couple of things. Since we've been talking on success, a lot of us have heard this quote: "You are the master of your fate, and you are the captain of your soul." Now, right off the bat, a lot of us would say, oh, no. We go back to the ifs that you've talked about. Mm-hmm. If they would only give me a chance. If they would only see that I'm...
If I hadn't been born here. If.
If the boss didn't promote so-and-so and I could have got that job. That was from a poem. But the author here, Napoleon Hill, says, the poet got it right. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. But the problem is he should have informed us that we are the masters of our fate and the captains of our soul because we have the power to control our destination through thought. He should have told us that either in which this little earth floats, in which we move and have our being, is a form of energy moving at a high rate of vibration, and that either it is filled with a form of universal power which adapts itself to the nature of thoughts that we hold in our minds. It influences us in natural ways, and it transfers our thoughts into the physical. What he is saying is the poet should have told us the great truth. We would know why it is that we are the masters of our fate and the captains of our soul. We have the power in our thought process to determine that. Now, we've read different books, but what
Go back and read that last sentence, not the one you just read, the very last sentence.
The very last one?
Yeah.
He should have told us that we have the power with our thoughts to determine our fate.
No, the one you read some on down there.
Let's see. If the poet had told us the great truth, we would know why it is that we are the masters of our fate and the captains of our soul. He should have told us with great emphasis that this power makes no attempt to discriminate between destructive thoughts and constructive. The urge to translate the physical reality through poverty is just as quickly influenced by those thoughts of riches. Up above it, it says, we hold in our minds the influence that will translate into the physical equivalent.
That's the point I'm trying to make. That was the sentence I was looking for.
So,
the physical equivalent is even more that. It's also your health.
It's your health, it's your happiness, it's your success. Again, going back to the radio program with you last week, nothing changed in my life last weekend. It was pretty routine. I did the same things that I did. I was with family. I did a little golfing. I went to church. There was nothing that changed or was out of the ordinary of my life except for one thing: the way I felt about it.
That's the key.
And when I read that, I went back to this book and I realized I was happier doing the same things that I normally do than I ever was because I changed.
The negative, destructive thoughts that we have will manifest themselves in our physical health.
Our thoughts can kill us.
And they will.
They can make us sick.
Yep.
They can depress us.
They can make us miserable.
Yeah.
And, even better, they can make us happy.
So time and time again,
so which do you choose?
We've talked about people who had millions of money. Rich people, people on television.
Committed suicide.
They committed suicide because their thoughts drove them to a point that they thought they were miserable. And you're saying just the opposite. There's people right now listening that may not have $100 in the bank account, and they could be the happiest people on earth.
Well, they were obviously, if they ever committed suicide, they were happier than those rich people.
Oh,
Right?
well, that's the truth, isn't it? I mean, they're sitting there saying, hey, I'm still here.
That's right. And I got hope, and I'm alive. Your thoughts and how you deal with the things around you, my friends, will make the difference in your physical health, and it will truly determine whether or not you have any hope of being happy.
And that form of success may change in your mind. So what you just said about the person that came to you and said, Gary, I need to make more money. The person maybe had determined that that was the form of success they were looking for, maybe another zero on the bank account. But what this author just said goes along with what you were talking about. You'll find your success in being content and happy with who you are, where you are, and with the people that are around you.
And I'm going to talk to that person, and I'm going to explain to them that what a wonderful life they've got, and to leave it alone.
Stop messing it up.
Don't mess it up by chasing more money.
That's a great point. Stop messing it up. So in other words, we've all been somewhere really fancy and had a miserable time. Mm-hmm. We've all been somewhere that wasn't so fancy and maybe had a bologna sandwich, but we were with the people we enjoyed and had a great time.
And you can't beat a good bologna sandwich.
Oh,
especially fried one.
Fried with an onion. There you go, my friend. There you go. I'm with you 100%.
But isn't life wonderful, Keith?
It is. And, you know, I met my friend, I started first grade with a buddy of mine, Roger Music, and I got to meet him in Lexington. I was at the Lexington office working, and we had lunch, and he had got back from a trip in Hawaii. And he said, guess what they consider a delicacy there in Hawaii? And I said, what? He said, Spam.
Right, they have to import it.
I said, you're kidding. He said, oh, no. He said, it was on every menu. And it was considered a big thing to have Spam with your breakfast or your dinner. And you know, I thought growing up, you know, that was the one thing I didn't want. But it goes right back to what we're talking about in the eyes of the beholder.
That's all it is.
I mean,
and we get to choose. That's the beauty of it, Keith. We get to choose how we perceive what's going on.
And here's the funny thing, Gary. I asked him, I said, did you eat it? He said, yeah. I said, was it good? He said, damn good. I'm like, he wouldn't have eaten that Spam here in Kentucky. There's no way you could have put it on his plate and he would have eaten it. But he went to Hawaii and it became a delicacy and he ate it. So that's kind of what you're talking about, isn't it?
It's all in your mind. We live in our brain.
100%.
Everything is in that brain. And that brain can make us miserable, and that brain can make us content, and that brain can make us happy.
So everybody that you're talking to right now has just become successful.
Because if they choose.
Well, they've done something in their life.
Yeah.
They're here, for one. You know, they've got a friend, they've got a relationship, maybe they have family, they've got a job.
Well, they're my friend. They're listening to the program.
Think of that.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah. We are a success, aren't we, guys?
You've got Gary C. Johnson on the radio saying you're a one-of-a-kind and you're a success. Now, why are you going to argue with that?
Now, you're going to argue with me, friends, that you're not one of a kind? You're going to argue with me that you're not unique? Are you going to argue with me that you don't have the ability to be happy? That you're going to argue with me that you want to be different than what you are, even though the good Lord made you the way you are, and He's perfectly content with you?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'll win those arguments, guys.
Gary, when you put it into those terms, it's hard not to smile. It's hard not to be happy. Listen, it's very difficult not to be appreciative of the things and the people around you.
My friends are appreciative.
Yep.
And they're not going to cut those little bitty knives on their relationship. They're not going to have our relationship die from 1,000 cuts.
Well, I got one more thing to read our friends, because some of them may be saying, okay, Gary, I get it. I'm happy, I'm successful, I'm all of these things, but what I'm trying to do won't work. I wanted to read this article from Henry Ford. A few years back, Henry Ford decided to prove that he could produce a V8 engine. A V8 engine. He chose to build an engine with 8 cylinders in one block. He went to all of his design people, and they said it cannot be done. Ford said, go ahead and produce it anyway. They replied, Mr. Ford, it is impossible. Ford said, go ahead and produce it anyway, and stay on the job until you succeed. The engineers went ahead. 6 months later, nothing happened. 6 months after that, again, nothing happened. The engineers tried every conceivable plan to carry out the orders, but things seemed in question, quite frankly, impossible. They went to Henry Ford and said, we told you it cannot be done. Henry Ford said, well, go right ahead and produce it anyway. And like a stroke of magic, they produced an 8-cylinder engine. I found this story amazing to me, that he had all the engineers telling him it can't be done, it can't be done. And the only thing he said was do it anyway. Mm-hmm. And after a year and a half, they produced the V8 engine, all because Henry Ford would not take no for an answer. Now, I figure there's one of our friends, or maybe it's me myself, that needed to hear this, that I've tried, it didn't work. I tried, it didn't work. Gary, I can tell you it's impossible. But knowing my friend Gary C. Johnson, you're sitting over there and going, go ahead and do it anyway.
Absolutely, Keith. How many times have I told you that?
Go forward.
Go forward.
And do it anyway.
Right.
And that attitude from Henry Ford, obviously we got the V8 engine, just because he knew if we put our mind to it with the infinite wisdom, we would figure it out. And that's really what you do. I mean, you've got a lot of people that says, oh, Gary, this case or that case, we can't do this, we can't do that. And you just smile, and then 2 or 3 days later, you walk in after you've turned it over to the subconscious, and you have that aha moment where you say, what if we do this?
2 o'clock in the morning.
Is the
That's the key time.
Yeah.
When the subconscious comes out and says, okay, this is how we do this.
It's amazing that I'll ask you if we're working on ideas or something. I'll say, Gary, what do you think about this, or what do you think about this? And you let me think about it. And then you'll walk back in and you say, at 2 o'clock in the morning, it came to me. Here's the angle. Here's what we need to do. And here's how. And it's always right.
My friends, remember, this is the year to be happy.
Yeah.
We are going to be happy.
Today is the day.
Now that we know we're successful, it's okay.
We're successful, and we know whatever the project is that we didn't finish, go ahead, go back to it. Do it anyway, because it'll work out.
Always.
My friend, thank you for last week's show. Thank you for coming back in here, because it made a difference this last week in my life, and I hope it's made a difference in our friends' life, that they realize that the things that you've been telling them now, that I think you believe to the upteenth degree,
with all my heart.
With all your heart now, even though you preached it, now you're more than that. You're on cloud 9 with it, and I am too. Good to have you back in here.
Great to be here, my friend.
All right, remember, you are a success in the book we read from, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. You can get in touch with Gary at GaryCJohnson.com if you'd like to touch base with him, or if you need his services. He is a personal injury attorney. And you can catch our radio program right here on your favorite station each and every week at this same time. On behalf of my friend Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for taking this time to tune in and be with us. We really do appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at this same time.
Thank you for listening to Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
I'm Gary C. Johnson. You've seen these billboards and ads that say size matters. I agree. The size that matters is the size of the results the law firm gets for their clients. We have several multi-million-dollar verdicts here in Kentucky. In fact, our firm owns the record for the single largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. That's the size that matters to you. In Kentucky, give our firm the call.
Hello, I'm Keith Casebolt from Creative Media of Kentucky. Congratulations on entering into the world of politics. Now, your upcoming race is going to require all of your focus on the issues and those who are going to possibly vote for you. So, the one thing that you don't need to worry about is the media. I'm talking bumper stickers, billboards, newspaper print, radio, television, digital. Who do you buy? Cable, broadcast. There's a lot of decisions to be made. We're the experts at that. We take all of that off your plate, put your campaign together, and handle all of the buying and all of the production. Now that gives you the time to do what you need to. Meet all of the voters, focus on the issues, and get elected. Give us a call at Creative Media of Kentucky.